Hello and welcome to the ShadowCast with your host Thomas Anderson and Abigail Moat.
Thanks for coming back, everybody.
Okay, I genuinely thought you were going to do, that Japanese V sign, the way you waved your hands around even though nobody can.
It's a peace symbol.
No, I know, but it's just the way you.
V sign. It was.
It's just the way that
sounded
you.
very rude.
The way that you moved your hands around. Yeah, it was very sort of anime. Even though nobody can see it.
Maybe it's because I've been binge watching Sailor Moon Crystal again.
I know Sailor Moon is anime, but I've never seen it.
You've never. There's the classic series, but then they remade it a few years ago called Sailor Moon Crystal, which is more in keeping to the manga.
Wait, so they remade it, as in they redid a lot of it, or did they...
Well, originally there was the manga, and then they made an anime series based on that manga, but they added stuff to it. They added stuff to the storyline.
So when they redid it, is it the same storyline?
No, when they redid it, it's the storyline of the manga.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of crossover, though, between the two sets of series?
Well, the overall story arc was kept the same in the first series.
Yeah.
In like the first first run of the show.
Right.
The storyline was kept pretty much on par with the manga, but they added like a lot of stuff to it. Like, for example, Sailor Moon Crystal, for I think the arc of one story, it was one series, which was about 12 episodes. But in the original, I think it was something like 60 or 65 episodes for that one series, for that one story arc.
Right.
And they added a lot to it. They did change quite a bit of it.
So they added like 5 or 6 times the amount.
Yeah,
right,
they added a lot of stuff. The manga series of Sailor Moon Crystal are very good. But again, it's quite cutesy. Their powers are quite cutesy. Like, Sailor Moon's powers are quite cutesy. It's like, it's like moon tiara boomerang and things like that. She's got a tiara that it goes like really, really fast, and she throws it at enemies.
Seen that? Is that on like some cover art or something?
Probably.
Rainbow coming out of her head.
No, a rainbow coming out. I can't think of a rainbow coming out of her head.
No, as if like there's a tiara. Like you're saying, she throws.
She throws a tiara.
And there's a rainbow.
No, there's no rainbow.
You just said it was.
No, I said moon tiara boomerang. She throws it.
Oh, right.
And it defeats an enemy.
Why did I hear rainbow?
I don't know.
I'll be interested to listen back and see if rainbow is there.
See if I do. Can you record that and send it to me? Like, does that snippet and send it to me going, see, you did say rainbow.
I'm not recording a recording of you saying rainbow.
I've recorded a recording of you saying stuff, correcting me, and turns out I was saying the right thing.
Oh, okay, so in that case, you accidentally said rainbow, so don't do that, you threw me off. No.
I didn't accidentally say rainbow.
It was a joke.
All right.
Because you said I was...
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I've been binge watching it, so that's probably why I was doing that. It's a fun little conversation on Sailor Moon there.
So I played a bit of Gears yesterday with Brian. I've played a bit of Fallout 4 by myself.
Oh, sorry, we've gone right into gameplay. Okay.
No, what I'm saying is if I have to react as if I've been... what I've been doing, then I have to pretend we're in a dystopia.
All right. I've just cottoned on to what you're meaning there.
Yeah, and we've not even Brexited yet. Although in good news for me having to pretend I'm in a dystopia, the currency crash has trashed some of the economy. That's good news for me.
Why?
It'll make it easier to pretend I live in a dystopia because I will actually live in a dystopia. Is it £500 billion off the economy?
I don't know. I know that we're pretty much level with dollars and euros now. Was it somebody said...
Oh, but see, that's the thing, right? Is that we use our currency differently. Say what you were going to say.
I was going to say that I read a tweet where somebody said, well done all Brexiteers, you have officially entered us into the euro as a pound is equal to a euro now. Well done.
Yeah. But the thing is that the currency is used differently by the UK and by Europe and by America. So the way we use our currency, the way it functions in our economy, it has to be worth more. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Because we're not a manufacturing powerhouse. We do financial services and stuff like that.
All right.
So it's more valuable for our currency
Yeah.
to be worth more. Because we buy in what we need and then perform services in exchange. And so we need a more valuable currency. So we can buy more for less. Those other places are sellers. They want a weaker currency so that they can sell better.
Another reason I like Sailor Moon, it's easier to follow than that.
But we use our currencies differently, so for us to have the same value is utterly disastrous.
Okay, then.
You see, I think that subtly changed it. Do you remember during the Indie Ref there was a lot of people saying that they wanted to keep the pound?
Yeah.
I mean, you're actually going to have to work hard to do that now because it's sinking. It's the first time anybody's ever spoken about keeping a currency, and somebody started passing out buckets to stop it sinking, as opposed to just collect it. But what else have I been doing? Reading a book.
What book have you been reading?
Silent Storm.
What's that about?
Story about the Master Chief in his more formative years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's 15 in it. That might be... Sorry, Abigail's showing me a picture.
I'm just showing you a picture of Sailor Moon there.
Yeah,
The one with the long blonde hair, Sailor Moon.
Yeah, so it's some...
That's Sailor Chibi Moon.
Right, so it's some... Is it poster
It's
art?
It's a poster art for the movie that's supposed to be coming out soon. That
Right.
we've been promised for 4 years.
So it'd be something like that I've seen that looks
Okay.
like a rainbow.
Do you know
coming
how
out
old
of a-
she is in that picture?
15.
Close, 14.
Right. Well, that's the Japanese. I think in some areas of Japan that used to be an adult. So they've got they've got a federalized system, but they also have provinces that like prefectorates. I can't remember the Japanese term for it, and so they were able to set their own age of consent, and some of them were at 14.
Oh.
But that, I mean, it really depends on your society to a degree, because in America, they don't let you drink until you're 21, but you can drive at 16, so that's obviously killing a lot of people. And you're an adult until 18, and you're basically owned by your parents until you're 18, and then suddenly you're an adult.
Yeah.
So they create a system in which their young people act like children the whole time, and then whiplash.
Mm-hmm.
So they binge drink problems. They've got, as soon as the person hits 18, they just do whatever they want, and the whole thing just is stupid. It all falls apart. Whereas Europe has a system.
Well, it's 16 here.
Yeah, it's 16 here, but Europe also has a better system because, and I think Scotland does too, because what you do is you treat them in stages.
Yeah.
So, let's say the age...
You're a legal adult, but you can't drive yet.
Right, you're an adult at 16, right?
Yeah.
But you only leave school when you're late 17 or 18. So
Mhm.
you're able to take your first 2 years as an adult in an environment in which basically you can learn how to be an adult without doing too much damage.
Mm-hmm.
But you're actually treated like you're getting close to being an adult by the time you're about 14. So there's stages in which you get treated differently by society that allows you to grow, but you don't get the whiplash effect of going from a complete child to a full adult in literally a day.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, a child can make their own medical decisions, which can't happen in America, from my understanding of it.
No.
Remember a story about a 13-year-old girl who turned down heart surgery. And the parents wanted her to have the heart surgery. So the team of doctors spoke to the girl about it, and she totally, fully understood everything. So they refused to do the surgery.
Where was this? In America?
No, here.
Why did she refuse the surgery?
Because it would have been her 15th heart surgery, and it was going to keep her alive for a month. Without it, she was going to be alive for 3 weeks. and she was going to be in pain after the surgery anyway.
Right, okay.
And she was going to be in pain without it. So she might get, say, 2 weeks of a lot of pain, then 2 weeks of none, and then dead, or 3 weeks of some pain. So she said, just don't bother. And she understood.
Mm-hmm.
So they just said, nah, we're not going. Oh, hello. She understood, so they just said, like, she gets it. Right?
Wow.
She understands, so we're not overruling that in that state. There's also another girl, I remember, she was 15, and she didn't want a surgery or even a minor procedure, and she felt that they hadn't explained it properly, so she didn't want it. And when they tried to anaesthetise her, in accordance with her parents' wishes, she went totally mental. Like, she was like moving around all over the place to try and get away from them and stuff. And the doctor who had this needle of anaesthetic nearly put it in her eye because she was flying around all over the place so much.
Yeah.
So that was when he called everybody out and just said, no, we're not doing it. Because I nearly killed her there, so we're not doing it.
I don't remember hearing those stories, but this is an interesting topic from where I started off. I've been watching an anime meant for probably 14 and 15-year-olds.
Yeah, but remember, as I just said, a 14 or 15-year-olds could be considered culturally an adult in that country.
Yeah.
I mean, we would probably treat 14-year-olds like they were heading towards adulthood, so Japanese are probably the same.
Yeah. It's a fun show. I highly recommend it.
I'm quite proud of that, actually, as a societal thing, that we give people a chance to act the age that they feel they've got to, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something I'm quite culturally proud of, actually. We give them a chance to grow into the role rather than just expecting them to get it all of a sudden, but being children the day before.
Yeah. So, shall we get on to what we've been playing this week? Have you been playing anything?
Well, I just told you I've been playing Gears and
that's right.
Fallout 4.
That was such a long time ago, I had completely forgotten what you had said.
It was not that long ago, it was about 5 minutes.
It was like about 10. For me, that's a long period of time, just trying to keep an attention span going.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also finished Death Squared, which is a cube-based puzzle game.
What's it called, sorry?
Death Squared.
Death Squared, alright. Is that a bit like...
I think it's called Death Squared, or is it called Death Cubed?
Or is it not called Cubed? Cube.
No,
Just
it's
cube.
called Death Squared.
Okay.
And it's just it's like a puzzle game. So you'll have so the first one is called Story Mode, and you have 2 colours of blocks, red and blue, and they're attached to a different stick on the controller.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's multiple of the one colour, but they all respond when you move the stick.
Yeah.
So I think it's left red, right blue.
This sounds a lot like Cube.
No, it isn't, because you are the cubes. Whereas in Cubed, you're a person using cubes.
So you're a cube in this?
Yes, you are a cube AI, right?
Okay.
And you're being tested inside a computer, and you're moving around an area of cubes.
Fascinating.
And so you've got to get puzzles. So if there's it's simple stuff like if there's spikes on the ground, only the colour of the cube that matches the spikes can go over it.
Right.
But what you'll find is if you put there's 2 circles you're trying to get to, and if you put the red cube on its red circle, that'll put a line of spikes around the blue one, so you have to put the blue one in first. And then it gets to far more complicated stuff later on. But it's just a puzzle game. But there's also party mode where there's 4, and you spin between the 4 different colours by pulling the triggers, and that then alters what colour is being moved. So there's yellow and green added. And I can't remember the exact which one it is, but let's say we put red and put red and green together, I think it might have been, but I'm not sure. So when you move with the stick, you'll then pull the left trigger, and that'll then move the green one as opposed to the red, or you pull the right trigger and instead of moving the blue you'll move the yellow.
I'm guessing this plays a lot more fun than the description.
Well, it's kind of difficult for me to get across a point of the puzzle without
spoiling anything.
Yes, so that's sort of, it's just So sometimes you'll get laser beams which will destroy all of the cubes with the exception of the colour that is the same. So you'll move the cube of the same colour in the way,
Yeah.
and that will then allow you to move the other cubes past.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes moving cubes will cause them to rotate around, so you then have to work out that. Sometimes the sort of map itself moves around. Sometimes you'll sit on a switch and that'll alter things, so suddenly pathways open up.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite was when you had to get the other cubes to ride on top. There's a good solution to one, which there was a platform which moves up and down. This is the very last mission.
Yeah.
Which is controlled by the height of the red cube, which is moving up a separate track than the other cubes. So you have to move the red one up, and that raises the platform of the red. There's a red platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ghost cubes, which red would fall through, but the others can't. Because only red can pass through it.
Okay.
And so that works differently, of course, because if it's a wall, then that's a barrier. But if it's a floor, then that's a lift, essentially. So the red moves up its track, and that raises the platform. And then you use the other colours to open up some of red's track, and then it moves up again. And it moves the rest up. But the other three colours have rotating lasers firing straight at them.
This is a lot of information.
Yeah, so each of the three colours that's on the other side has three lasers firing at it, which are rotating around the map and in a clockwise manner as they go up the way. That's clockwise. Yes. No. That's anti-clockwise. This is clockwise. Yes. So as they go up, they rotate around, and so while the cubes are protected from the back 180 degrees, they're not from the front.
Yeah.
So if you raise it too quickly, it will zoom around and accidentally hit one of the other colours if you don't have everything in the right place. But you won't really have had much chance to actually see that coming.
Yeah.
You'll have to just let yourself die and then try again. But one of the solutions to one of those was that I had the ability to stack the three other cubes on top of each other at one point, just to make it a little bit easier later on. And so I did that because it meant that each of the three laser beams were at a different height.
Mm-hmm.
They're like out of phase or out of sync. So it meant it wasn't possible for them to hit each other. Because the laser beams were all on different levels.
Yeah, I'm trying to visualise. I'm not good at visualising stuff like that in my head. I'd have to actually see it being played. So that's why I'm just like, right, okay, sure.
So I really enjoyed it.
Well, what was it called again? Death Squared?
Yeah, there was an achievement in it, because I got all the achievements. One of the achievements in it was to get killed 999 times.
Not 1,000, just 999.
Yeah, and there's one where if you raise and lower the red cube, this is a different one, it spins this thing around the map, like another laser beam that kills everything. And there's a series of red switches which moves things up and down. Mm-hmm. And the very first time I did it, I got on the one in the middle, which causes a spire to rise up quite high, but quite fast. And it causes the laser beam in the middle to shoot around and cut everything to pieces. So that was the mission that I picked to finish off my kill streak, because all you have to do is force red off the platform, and then it causes the laser beam to kill the other three while you're falling. Mm-hmm. So you get 4 deaths. So it sped the whole thing up. You know
well done.
You don't have to do it, say, 250 times.
Mm-hmm.
But also I'd obviously played through both the story and the party mode by then, so I had like 860 deaths anyway. So it was really quick.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations on dying 999 times.
It's actually 1,002.
Go away. Just go away. I can't handle the sass. Go away. I've literally just been playing The Sims again, but this time I've been trying to play with as many kids as possible that will allow in the household. So.
Oh right, okay.
Plus, well, there's 3 adults, so there's 5 kiddos, ranging from babies to toddlers. They were all toddlers. That was a nightmare. And then they were all children, which was less of a nightmare, but still pretty bad. So that's fun.
Yeah, my cousin Owen is a toddler. He's just over 1, I think.
Yeah, but toddlers in The Sims aren't like real toddlers.
Why? It's called The Sims. It's supposed to simulate them.
Yeah, but toddlers in real life don't have a little bar saying this is why they're cranky.
Oh, right, yeah, that's the point. That would be really beneficial, wouldn't it?
But there's weird moments where they'll literally just stop and just cry for no reason and then just wander off and do something else.
Do they still have the diamond above their head?
They do, yeah. Which kind of helps. But they've got...
Colour?
Yeah, it does. Like, it goes from green to red. Red when they're very, very upset and angry. But my game's bugging quite a bit at the moment. I don't know why. I'm having to reset certain Sims quite a bit. But I know the cheat for it, so...
Right, okay. That's a bit concerning.
Which is, control. I think it's Control-Shift-C. And then you say reset Sim and then put the name of the Sim in.
That's not great.
No, but Sims have always been known for having bugs like that. There's a part where a baby will age up to a toddler, and it's really weird because sometimes it bugs out that you still see the baby and the toddler at the same time, but the baby's like curled up and like floating in the air above its crib. That's quite funny.
I was going with creepy there, but okay.
But one thing I do like, a difference from The Sims 3 to The Sims 4, is the fact that you can put a toddler in a toddler bed. They don't have to be put into a crib. So they don't have to be let out. You don't have to wake up a Sim. You can just literally have the Sim toddler just wandering about.
Well, in the game that I played, you had a baby, and then the baby became a non-baby
A toddler.
after 3 days.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than 3 days, but yeah, it's...
No, it didn't become a toddler, it became a straight full child.
Really?
Like a 13 or 14-year-old or something.
No,
like that.
in this, it's baby, toddler, child, teenager, young adult, elder, dead. That's how it works.
Like life.
Like life, yes.
Unless you're Philip Schofield. In which case you just keep going.
Don't hate on Philip Schofield.
No. I'm just saying he's
He's not old. He's not old.
mid-50s.
Yeah, but that's not old.
Come on.
That's middle-aged.
Yeah, that's my point, is that he doesn't look middle-aged. He looks like 32, maybe with a couple of extra lines. Because he's always had the silver hair, so the most identifying thing is seeing someone going grey. I kind of think it's kind of cool, actually. I remember those adverts, like, if you're going grey, it's like, you may think it shows experience and maturity. Or it's the same for if you've got wrinkles on your face. You may think those are laugh lines. But she just thinks you look old. Aye, well, she can get to France, I don't care. Well, she thinks I look old, right? Well, I think she looks like a skank. I'm out of here. You know, it's just... I think it looks kind of cool because you just end up looking like you are aging, which is what you are. Like, you know, I've survived this long.
Yeah.
I think it's also, if you offset it, the other thing is going grey or going bald. I'd suit grey better than bald.
You don't know.
Yeah, I do. I'm not going bald, by the way. I have that professionally checked.
Do you actually?
Yeah, by shepherds. No,
Is that who cuts your hair?
no. When I go in
Go for a sheep shear.
when I go in for a shearing at the barber's, they always get that big thing out to show you the back of your head.
Yeah.
You always see the crown, which is where it would start.
Yeah.
So you get a good look at it.
Yeah. I'm just imagining you dressing up as a sheep and going to a shepherd with really bad eyesight.
If they had really bad eyesight, I could just dress up as a squirrel and they'd think I was a sheep.
But aside from
Yes,
your
aside
haircut.
from my grooming.
Okay, so should we move on to the stories that we want to talk about today?
Yes, and we have an extra special stories that we want to talk about section. Don't we?
Do we?
Yeah, because you actually did one. Hold on. I'm just going to fix the agenda here. Beep. Yes, because you've actually written one.
Well,
of
I
the
know
stories.
it's just not so much I've written it. I think that it's just an important thing that we need to talk about.
Yes, I'm not saying you made it up. I'm saying that this is your story and you've collected the data.
Yes.
Data. So come on.
We shouldn't be joking at this, I don't think. So, as we all know...
Yeah, I joke about everything.
Shush. So this was a news story I think that we should talk about. You okay?
Yes, go ahead.
So I think that this is a news story that we kind of do need to talk about. So as we all know, recently there was two mass shootings. Well, I don't know what constitutes as a mass shooting.
These count.
Okay. In America, one in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio, which altogether left 31 people dead and many others injured. In El Paso, it was 22 people that were killed, and in Dayton it was 9. And I think one thing that we do need to talk about is the fact that Dayton's shooting only happened within 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, the gunner was taken down. And he was managed to kill 9 people and injure some others.
Did they mention what type of firearm he was using? I assume he wasn't using a stick.
No. I can't remember what he... I don't know what kind of firearms, but it was obviously something powerful enough to do that kind of damage. Must have been an automatic rifle of some description.
It's not going to be... Yeah, it's not going to be bolt action in 30 seconds on
No.
that guy's special forces. You can't fire bolt action that fast.
No.
Because it's 9... 30 seconds is the 9 count, right?
Yeah.
And remember that started off at like 5 or 6, and then over the course of the day they kept revising it up as people who went to hospital started dying. So both shootings there was a great number of injuries on top of deaths.
Yes.
So obviously there's no way that guy's he's not using like a sawn-off shotgun or a bolt action. He's not going to be able to reload in time.
So this was one of the most horrific another horrific tragedy that involves people gunning people down in America that we've heard this year. There was also recently a young man that went fully armed into a Walmart, but he didn't shoot anybody. The police were called. He was arrested almost immediately, and he was saying that he was trying to test the law about the rights to bear arms. So nothing happened there, thankfully.
Surely you'd start with Wikipedia. Maybe then talk to a lawyer about what the law is. Not just wander out into the road with an assault rifle and find out if you get arrested.
We went into a Walmart and he was also armed. It was armed, but also he had body armour on, I believe.
Yeah, I think body armour isn't
No.
banned anywhere, but my point is that if he's just testing the law,
no,
that doesn't make any sense.
So this was a horrific tragedy, and I doubt it's going to be the last one we hear in the year, because these shootings happened almost within 24 hours of each other, or at least 48 hours of each other.
They're a country of 317 million people, and they've got like 200 million guns. Of course it's not.
No.
So it goes without saying, but why are we talking?
We're talking about this because Trump and Fox News have both decided that it's the violence at games which have caused these individuals to go out and mass murder. Trump gave a press conference in which he said we must stop the glorification of violence in our society regarding video games, and how easy it is for people who are quite disturbed to be able to, I think those were his words, disturbed or like outcast, basically, to get hold of the games, and it can warp their minds. This was
interesting. That obviously it doesn't work, because he's just claimed that a disturbed person can have their mind warped by video games, but they're already got a warped mind if they're disturbed.
Yes, but can I finish what I was going to say?
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say is that this is quite interesting for somebody who routinely at his rallies incites violence and calls all Mexicans rapists and drug dealers, and how we need to...
I don't know if he routinely refers to Mexicans as drug dealers.
No,
and
but
rapists.
he incites violence routinely at his rallies.
And has referred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe it was one of the shooters who had a hit list or something like that, or a list of how he hated Mexicans.
Yeah, I think it's kind of loose in my head, but I remember one of the people was referred to as a white supremacist.
Yeah, one of the shooters.
Yeah.
I think it must have been the El Paso one that had the hit list against Americans against Mexicans, but
Yeah, I think you're right.
The
I think
one-
he was.
the one in Dayton had a hit list and a rape list.
Alright, there's a bit of a joke in there about him lasting 30 seconds, but
So Trump has been saying that it's the result of video games, violent video games. Fox News have also been jumping on this, and yet again they are blaming video games and not blaming very lax regulation on gun control.
How do they explain Japan?
I don't know, but
Sorry, on you go.
but even the Trump administration released in 2018 a report showing that there is little evidence to support the link between mass shootings and video games.
There's none. There's
I know.
evidence showing
Because
there is no link.
Even according to the Washington Post released an article about how the sale of video games has increased while the incidence of youth homicide has actually dropped since the 90s.
Yeah, that's what the evidence demonstrated. If you can actually show in a safe environment the sort of damage that people will do,
Yeah.
and also give them a cathartic release, then they don't do it.
No, because even the University of Oxford this February 2019 released their findings, or they I couldn't find out if this is when they released their findings or if this is when they did the experiment. Conducted the most comprehensive study, into the link between aggression and video games. Well, like if it would lead to basically a mass shooting or something to that akin. Then they found no evidence of increased aggregation among teens who had spent longer playing video games than teens who hadn't spent a lengthy amount of time playing video games. Over the course of a month. Even lead researcher Professor Andrew and I cannot pronounce his surname.
I had to go at this. Sorry, it was can you bring that closer? Because reading your writing is a bit. Przybyłski.
Yeah, I think
That's what I had.
I'm sorry if we pronounce your name wrong. I can't read.
I'm hoping you've actually written it properly.
I think I have. He is the director of research at the Oxford I think I've written Internet Institute.
Internet Institute.
I can't read my own writing.
That says Internet Institute, but I've never heard of that.
Just give me 5 minutes just to look this up and just double check to make sure I've actually written the right thing. Yes, it is the Internet Institute.
Oh.
Internet Institute.
Institute. Thank you.
Has said the idea that violent video games drive real-world aggression is a popular one, but it hasn't tested very well over time.
Mm-hmm. Let me put this into context for you. Japan has no gun law. You're not allowed it.
No.
They don't have no gun law. They have a law that says no guns, right?
Yeah.
They make two of the most popular they make two of the three consoles, right?
Yeah.
Nintendo and PlayStation.
Two of the most popular consoles in the world.
Right? They make a huge swathe of the games.
Yeah.
They have about 4 gun murders a year and they're considered national tragedies.
Yeah.
In a country of over 200 million.
Yeah. The problem
So-
is that they don't have an IRA. They don't have a
NRA.
NRA. Thank you.
National Rifle Association.
Yes, I was off by one letter. Sorry about that.
They don't have an IRA. Most countries don't have an IRA. Anyway, the other problem I would say that argument has is that, you know, that they're like 40-year-olds that play games.
Yeah.
So they've had like 25 years to go on a mass murdering spree since they became teenagers.
Yeah.
They haven't done it.
However, the professor did say that gaming could provoke anger in online games. But that's when you're like against another person.
But but that's not.
That you can have the same as playing a board game.
That's not the game. That's the other person. That's the competition. People get frustrated, right, when they play a game and can't manage it, right? But obviously that's not what they've looked into. So what they've done is they've compared a violent video game, right, probably on easy difficulty, with a violent video game against real people, which is like going from easy to legendary in one jump, and people. So of course people are going to be all.
Because the study was a sample of 1,000 Brits aged between 14 and 15, and it was a combination of different genders.
Different genders? What combination of different genders?
I don't know what the correct phrase. I'm scared in case I offend somebody.
Was it men and women?
Well, boys and because of the age, I will say boys and girls.
But it right. So because stratification is extremely important in data analysis. There wasn't anybody there identifying as an attack helicopter or a toaster or any.
Don't anger people.
No, what I'm saying is it was just stratified into male, female.
I believe so, yes.
Right, okay. Now that's important because statistically speaking, that stratification is basically more relevant to the data analysis.
But at the same time, I don't think anybody can take anything that Trump says seriously.
The issue, though, of course, is that I believe, if memory serves, like a month or so ago, Bernie Sanders was saying the same thing. Because this is so ingrained in their society to believe. It's two things that have come together to really endanger the pastime that so many people enjoy in quite a nice way. One, they think that video games are for children.
Yeah.
And so they don't ask any of these people if they play them themselves. They say, of course not, I'm an adult. So they don't have a clue what they're talking about. Secondly, everybody has to have a machine gun.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have 6 miniguns attached to their house. It's like America already lives in a zombie apocalypse. But there's no zombies.
Maybe we shouldn't ban video games. We should just ban things like The Walking Dead. Because obviously that's probably ingrained into some people's ability that will happen.
Well, isn't it? How come violent books, violent TV don't do this? Oh, I know why. Because violent TV probably funds your re-election campaign.
But didn't they say at one point that it was alcohol was causing so many things, and then that's why loads of states became dry, and there was the...
Well, it's still actually quite a few states which have extremely severe alcohol
but this
laws.
Was more widespread, wasn't it? It was more widespread.
The prohibition was not a law. It was a amendment to the Constitution.
Oh, I thought it was a law. I thought alcohol was banned.
I think it was the 8th Amendment which banned it, and then the 13th which allowed you to have it again.
That makes no sense.
Delete the 8th.
No, But again, talking about Trump. One, like I say, I don't think you can take anything he says serious. I don't think anybody does anymore. But one, this man who just is trying to produce an agenda, can't even get the name of the city where the tragedy happened correct. Instead of saying Dayton, he said Toledo.
Toledo?
Yeah, he's in the press conference. He said our hearts are with something along the lines of our hearts.
Is Toledo not in like Portugal or something?
Toledo is in Ohio as well, I believe.
Oh, right.
But he said that place instead of Dayton. And also recently, in the last day or so, there was some sort of photo op or something. He was visiting Dayton and El Paso. And in El Paso, he had a photo with a little baby who, baby whose parents were killed in El Paso shooting when Melania was holding it, and Trump was standing next to Melania, and he had a big smile on his face, and he was giving the thumbs up.
What was Melania doing?
Holding the baby.
What was she doing with her face?
What she always does with her face.
Ah, right, okay.
Some sort of grimace.
Yeah, some sort of help, please save me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's relevant. See,
that last bit's not technically...
It's relevant to discuss his complete inability to do the job if you're talking about his complete inability to do the job with respect to this story about video games.
Yes.
The issue is that it's not his complete inability to do this, right? It was the first Louis Gohmert, the first district representative of Texas, right?
Yeah.
He's been arguing against video. He blamed Grand Theft Auto 5 for a mass shooting, remember?
Yeah.
It wasn't even out yet.
Nope.
Yeah, there's no way the guy could have played it.
But like I said, there was that... sorry, I'll let you continue what you were saying. I shouldn't have interrupted.
You've also got Bernie Sanders, and I recently saw footage of Clinton, I think, in the 2000s saying this.
Because it's something that a lot of people believe. A lot of people believe this. People who genuinely don't play video games, or maybe parents or guardians of like teenagers who spend hours and hours in the room just playing violent video games, and they see that and they think it's violent. But I don't think you're going to go on a mass shooting anytime soon. And how long have you been playing video games for?
I'd go on a punching spree.
You being a 20-year-old man?
I'd go on a punching spree. You'd hear about like Scottish Jackie Chan murdering 17 people in Glasgow. I wouldn't bother with a gun because it's so pathetic, really. But I've been playing games since I was 7.
Yeah, so 22 years of playing video games.
And not a single death.
No.
So we've got you were talking about the professor, the data there.
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing to corroborate this nonsense. It's just a whole selection of old people trying to tell young people about something young people do without knowing anything about it.
No. Why did you never go into politics?
People don't like being told the truth, and I don't lie. Well, I lie for fun and personal gain, but I don't lie in politics.
But you've got stories you'd like to talk about, so why don't we talk about some of that?
Well, there's only one here I actually really want to talk about, is the...
Greedfall.
Yeah, it's an upcoming RPG. Now, I've been here... I've not... How shall I put this? I've seen a few adverts for trailers.
I saw a trailer for it, yeah.
It looks really good.
It does, yeah.
It looks amazing.
Is that a real game trailer, or is that somebody made a trailer just for the... You know what I mean?
I think it was gameplay.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. Either way, it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about it. Just in case the mic didn't pick that up, pretend I'm whispering. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody.
No. I never heard of it until I read the agenda and saw that word was on there.
Why?
Is it free to play? No, it's not free to play.
No, it's RPG, not MMORPG, so it's a paid for game. But so I thought we'll have a conversation about the developer, because the developer and I have a relationship, a history.
Okay.
And so I thought we'll have a wee conversation about it.
Okay, I've never heard of spiders.
So Greedfall's made by Spiders.
As I just ruined there. Spoiler alert.
Spiders.
Spiders.
The Spiders came together and formed a company in France.
Let's see the picture for it. It kind of looks like...
Spiders.
It kind of looks like Spider-Man's emblem.
A little bit, yeah. But
it's not red or blue.
The spider seems to have like a hula hoop.
No, that's its pad it swims on when it goes swimming.
It's a hoverboard.
Pad. No, it's just the energy it emanates.
Or maybe it was in an accident, and those are like, it's only got stumps for limbs, and these are all like mechanical limbs attached to this like life belt thing that. Or maybe it's wearing a life preserver in case it falls in the water.
Now, you saying the spider thing there just reminded me of Wild Wild West.
Oh my goodness.
Do you know what I found out? You know the guy
that like rubbish?
No, apart from that. Do you know who plays like the villain in it? Do you know who that is?
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, I never realised that.
I knew that the whole time.
I didn't know who he was when I originally watched that movie, because I was like about 8 when I watched it. But I think I was anyway. But yeah, I didn't know that's who that was.
I think one of the biggest problems with that movie is that there are representatives from other countries there when he's in his giant mechanical spider.
I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched it. And
they basically said to France and the UK and all the rest of it that you're going to stab us in the back as soon as you can. Like, no. Remember, I think the rest of the world did a bit of trade with the South, right?
Yeah.
But they never actually officially recognised them, and to get it clear, the rest of the world was against slavery by this point, and America, who they had been trading with before the separation,
Yeah.
still had slavery. So there was no change. The rest of the world just did trade with that part of America, which had now become separate, but they had always been doing it. So there's no, oh, so you were fine with slavery. Well, no, but we just traded with that area of the world which had it in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I find that very interesting.
I liked that movie when I saw it.
Yeah,
originally.
I did too, because I was like 3 or something silly like that, like 9 or something.
I know, like I said, I was like about
But
8.
now
And my
it's-
sister was 3 years younger than me, and we were both watching it with my dad.
Yeah.
And you know that first 10 minutes of that film? Can you remember what happens within that first 10 minutes of that film?
There was a...
2 guys get decapitated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in that weird mechanical thing that they create.
Yeah.
As an 8-year-old watching that, I was like...
And then
And then my sister was like 5, so she was like,
and then they did that thing where the eyes
Yeah.
preserve the last image. No, they don't.
upside down though. They had to turn it upside down, didn't they?
Yeah, because the eyes have everything upside down and the brain flips it
Yeah.
round. But
That's a crazy thing to think about.
no, it's not.
For me it is. It's weird.
Well, the light from you coming from down here would hit the top of my eye. The light from here would hit the middle. The light from there would hit the bottom. So the image is upside down.
Yeah.
So the brain flips it.
It's still like a weird concept.
Well,
for
they
me.
discovered that like back in literally Jesus times.
No, I know that.
They worked out that it was the wrong way around.
How did they actually work that out? Back then.
The properties of light. Somebody realised that the light moving at you would be upside down. Somebody just figured it out. They just realised the light from there would go this way, the light from there would go that way, and so it's upside down. The brain must be flipping it round. Anyway.
Apart from Wild Wild West, sorry I brought that up.
Oh, that movie is full of...
Again, I've not seen it for like about 15 years.
There's a really interesting part in it where Will Smith's talking about how they used to play the drums in Africa to talk to each other. So they beat... That's why he was touching a woman's boobies. I thought, that's just weird. Like, is he not slagging off his own heritage there? I mean, that's a kind of a racist scene to try and explain away sexual assault by saying, it's fine, I'm African. It's just very weird.
I can't remember.
It was really weird.
I can't remember that bit of the movie. I just remember him doing that dance in front of Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah,
He
anyway.
dresses up. That's literally
Oh.
that bit. I remember that bit. I remember the part like at the beginning. And then I remember them talking about dressing up as a woman. Like I just remember those scenes, and I don't really remember anything else.
Jeez.
That's how long ago it's been since I watched it.
Like, how useful would a train be to a secret agent? Is somebody not going to notice a train rocketing around, going nowhere? Like, it's just going to go backwards and forwards, right?
Yeah.
It's not exactly as free as a car or a plane, just going backwards and forwards, and nobody ever gets on. It's just like, who's this ghost train floating
Oh
around?
yeah, that's right. The pool table flips or something like that, isn't it? Or snooker tables flips.
Yeah, but is that the point? Is that nobody gets on? It's only got a couple of carriages. Nobody gets on it. They're extremely wealthy, but they weren't even finished. Like, they weren't even finished building the track. Remember,
I kind of do.
the tracks just go all over the place. Like, there's a private railroad that goes all the way up to Spider Canyon. Like, why is that there? It's just
An 8-year-old doesn't think of this.
It's mental. Anyway,
Did you think of that at the age of 9?
see, the problem was I saw it once at about 9 or a couple of times at 9 and didn't see it again till I was about 25, and that's when I started ripping it to pieces.
Anyway, shall we go back to the company Spider?
Yeah, we'll go back to Spiders. They don't affiliate with the South, and
Or the movie.
they don't live in Spider
and they're
Canyon.
not run by Kenneth Branagh.
No, they're in France. Oh, In July 2019, French publisher Big Ben Interactive. French publisher Big Ben? That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Cultural appropriation much? Good, take it. I think that makes perfect sense, actually, because the English have spent a lot of time recently trying to slap Europeans in the face, philosophically speaking. So to literally steal Big Ben out from underneath, that kind of... have that, you pesky Westminsterite. Have announced that they had acquired Spiders. I didn't know that. Now, they were founded originally in 2008.
Yeah.
By a whole load of French people from the looks of this list. It's quite small, like 20 plus people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got a list of their previous games here, so I thought we'd have a quick convo, as the young ladies used to probably never say. So the first one that they made here was a port for 360, Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. Now, I think port isn't quite as much development as your own game, obviously. They basically just take the game that's already there and try and manipulate it in engine or convert it to a different engine so that you can play it on a different console.
Okay.
So the game is made for computer and imported to the Xbox 360.
So they're basically just kind of adapting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called a port. Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper, port for 360. Now, I played this game on the PC.
Was it good?
Very.
When was this? When was it released? 2009.
Yeah, that's the port, was 2009.
Sorry, then when was the PC game released?
Probably a few months before that, to be honest, because it was November 2009. Now, I thought that game was really, really good, but I never played the port, so it's good that they were working on something that was that good, but I don't think they had much say in the development process.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just gloss over that one.
Okay, glossed over.
Fairy Legends of Avalon, that was from the looks of it, brand new, and I've never played it, so I can't really talk about it.
Okay.
Grey Matter, that was a port, absolutely amazing game. I have played that. That was really good. And I played the 360 port and it seemed to work absolutely fine.
Okay.
So that's absolutely fine.
Okay.
I thought that seemed to work well. There was no point where I was sitting thinking, oh, this is weirdly done. It was just really nice. It was a really nice wee game to play that. It was about a supernatural researcher at Oxford who was trying to research the link.
Grey matter?
Yeah, he was a neurologist, and he was working out the possibility of the brain to work something out that would seem supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
So the ability of the brain, for example, to accurately guess RNGs between 0 and 20. Or you could say RGNs, randomly generated numbers, between 1 and 20. And then actual magic starts happening and everybody's freaked out. Of Orcs and Men. Now, I have got that, but I haven't played it yet. It's a prequel, I think.
So similar to Lord of the Rings?
No, it's a prequel to a different set of book stories, and it's like Styx. It's Master of Shadows.
I've heard of that.
I think I've played that one. I want to play the one that came afterwards. It's a stealth game where you're an orc or a goblin or something like that, and it's pretty good. I really enjoyed it, but this is a bit different. Like, you've got two characters in that, where one is a bit stealthy and the other one's like a full-sized big.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an ogre or an orc or something, and he's more combat. And so I've not played it, but it is sitting there, and I'm quite interested to see what happens, because I played one of the games that comes afterwards. But from the looks of this the game list, they weren't involved in making those.
No.
Mars Warlogs. Now, I have played that. They made that game, and if I'm being honest, the story is actually really interesting.
Okay, I misread that. I thought that said Mars War Legos.
You're a fool.
Sorry.
This game was set on Mars. There's been a sort of collapse in their society to a degree, so they struggle for resources like water and stuff.
Fun.
And there's big wars over it, different factions going to war, And there's like magic in it and stuff like that. Technomancers who use like what looks like magic. And you play a character who's a soldier who's captured on the battlefield and sent to a prisoner of war camp. And so the first chapter is you breaking out, and then you do other things across the course of the game.
Cool.
Now, after that, a year later, they released a game called Bound by Flame, which was different. That was magic, set in a magic-y area where
it sounds like it'd be.
The Ice Lords are taking over the world and turning everything to ice, and the humans are trying to fight off, but they can't because the Ice Lords are immortal, so they're just falling back and falling back. But you then end up bound to the spirit of fire. Mm-hmm. So you're able to fight them, and so you push them back, and then you fight the great lord who's in charge of everything. That's the whole point of it. And then it turns out you've got to work out what to do with the spirit inside of you and how much you've actually fallen to the side of that spirit and all that sort of demonesqueness. And it can change your physical appearance. But the reason I combined those games before I finished talking about War Logs is because they're very similar. Very similar, like health potions, mana potions. You'd got... I remember the difference, I think, was that dodging was extremely important in one game, blocking was extremely important in the other, but it's still very similar combat. Yes. Very limited ranged weapons. So one was like a nail gun that was a ranged weapon. I think that was Warlogs, and Bound by Flame was a crossbow bolt. You could throw bombs and stuff like that in it and use med kits. So you were extremely reliant on the harder difficulties on your items to keep you going, and to pick the right powers, because you don't get very much magic juice in either game. You've got to really conserve it, and it doesn't go up very quickly in combat. So I always focused a lot on recharging it quickly when it came to leveling up. They are RPGs, so you do level up, you pick your powers and all the rest of it. But 3 hits in that game and you're dead.
Yes.
In both games you get companions at certain points, and you can pick how they fight. Mm-hmm. So I think with Bound by Flame, my preferred was to pick a combatant that could last a long time in a fight, sneak round behind them and just go blip 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 and kill them. Sneak round behind them and just go blip 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 and then dead. With Mars Warlogs, I picked somebody who was able to do damage, and then I would just jump around the place, because I think that was the game where you could dodge, and I'd just dodge constantly all over the place. Like, my guy would have been sick if he was real, and then the other guy would do the damage. But a lot of the time you were just reliant on getting the right enemies out of the way first. You were heavily reliant on your ally taking 2 or 3 people with him.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, you were basically done until you hit the higher powers. And here's the problem with both those games: you get nowhere near actually unlocking all the powers in the game. You're very limited in what you can pick. Very limited, to the point where I didn't even feel like I was specialising. Like, if there was 3 or 4 chains of powers that you could go, paths of powers, skill trees you could complete, there's no way you could even complete one. And so I just felt a little bit let down. Mars Warlogs was different, because with that game I never actually used all my... I had like 15 levelling up points left at the end, because I thought there was going to be a big battle at the end and I wanted to make sure I was maxed out for it, and then I accidentally completed it without realising it was the last battle in the game.
Well done.
Yeah. And the reason I didn't realise that was because the story was nowhere near done. Mm-hmm. So that... both those games had really good stories, right? Which I think in the case of Bound by Flame sort of lost something towards the end. Mm-hmm. They didn't go where they should have gone, but it was really good. Really good enemies, really difficult. You had to really try. But it was a bit tedious. It was a bit too difficult. It was a bit too based on luck, which I don't like.
Yeah.
But they had good stories, like I said, especially Warlogs, which really was a good story I was interested in. They just had these little things which they were just like design elements of almost laziness. But now that I've seen that the fact that one came out a year after the other, I can kind of see why they made these mistakes. The next game they made was the Technomancer, which I have, but I haven't played yet. and that game is like a sequel to Warlogs.
Yeah, I think so.
And that looks really good. I've heard some pretty good things about it. It has its problems. It really keeps the story going really well, builds a really interesting world, and really has potential.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Yeah.
And so I really want to play that. And now 3 years later, they're making Greedfall. So clearly they're a company that's moved from making smaller, almost arcade-style games to making full-size RPGs.
And how long have they been making games for now? 10 years.
11 years,
11
I think
years.
it was. Yeah, 11 years ago. But yeah, so they started off with ports, smaller games like Fairy, of Orcs and Men, which are much smaller, and Bound by Flame and Techmancer are bigger, but they're still like medium sized. They're not, I wouldn't say they're not as big as something like Mass Effect or KOTOR for an RPG, which you'd say about. So the Outer Worlds is going to be about 40 hours. These are not that, like 15 or 20, unless you factor in the difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
If the combat was as easy as those other games, they'd be more like 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Apparently the Technomancer is a bit bigger. It's more in keeping, and I think Greedfall would be a full 40 to 50 hour experience, maybe even more. Like the Dragon Age, the first one, is 100 hours to do everything. But yeah, so you can see the progression that they've made.
Yeah.
And so like their first step into a proper RPG with Bound by Flame and Warlogs wasn't particularly great.
No.
But there was enough there for you to see they could definitely do it again and do it properly. Things like Grey Matter, though, and Jack the Ripper, which are ports, it's good that they've been included in something that good for the experience.
Yeah.
And Of Orcs and Men, I think, had a good story, so they're able to do good stories. So that's brilliant in an RPG. So I'm kind of looking forward to it for that reason. Apparently, an extra piece of information, they also have their own game engine, which is a modified version of Sony's Fire Engine.
Great.
Spelt Phyre, but obviously you say
Yeah.
Fire Engine.
Yeah.
And they called it the Silk Engine because they're spiders.
Yeah. Very good.
Are they called arachne or are they called spiders in France? I
will look this up.
No. Is the company called Spiders in France or is it called araignée?
Oh.
Is it a translation in French or are they called spiders? First time
I think it's just called Spiders.
First time I played Grey Matter, I played the old demo. This was way back when demos were more popular on 360. They had a lot of demos, and I think it was Chapter 3 you could play half of it. A couple of years later I found the game for sale and just thought, well, I'm having that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this Greedfall. It looks like a proper RPG.
It does look like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sort of similar in a way to the Outer Worlds, in that it looks like a proper made RPG. You know, a proper made RPG is going to be fun.
I liked that in the trailer they said that you could, can't remember what the word is now, where you dress up as like one of the enemies. You can infiltrate an enemy camp.
Social stealth.
No, it's something else. You can dress up as one of the enemies and infiltrate.
Imitate.
No.
Conceal.
No.
Stealth, sneak.
No.
Pretend.
Probably something along those lines. I can't really remember what they said, but that I found quite interesting.
Camouflage.
That's probably it.
It's a camouflage.
Camouflage.
Camouflage. Camouflage. Can you say it with a really pretentious, fake, rubbish, fake French accent?
Nope.
Camouflage.
Camouflage.
No, not camel fromage.
Hold
It's
on.
not camel cheese. Camouflage.
No.
I see you're wearing
À
the
droite, à gauche.
camouflage.
I can remember pomme de terre.
I love that. That phrase.
Potato of the earth.
No, it's not the potato.
Apple of the earth, sorry.
It is. What is potato in French? Potato? No, it's apple of the earth, but it's
Pomme de terre.
it's like watermelon. It's not actually a melon made of water. Passion fruit. It's a fruit made entirely of passion. Here's an
I
apple
used
of
to
the
like
ground.
passion fruit. I used to eat them all the time. I found them quite bitter. I like that.
Jeez. Something wrong with you.
It's like when you're trying to eat a bitter grape. It's really nice. Like a tiny, tiny one. It's sour. No, it's like soury, bittery. It's nice.
No, it isn't. I associate those words with bad things, so I'm not entirely sure why you're saying they're good things.
Do you never eat like sour sweets as a kid?
Oh yeah, but not things
That's
which are
why I like
supposed
it.
to be sweet and they're not. I mean, I've found that strawberries are quite sort of like bitter. Like I'll eat one and just sort of like screw my face up while I'm chewing it, like, totally involuntarily.
I do that for raspberries.
Yeah, but I don't think strawberries are supposed to be like that. It's just that you grow them in. I think
Are they
they're
kept?
grown.
Do you keep them in the fridge? But sometimes I think that has something to do with it.
Yeah, but you can't not keep them in the fridge.
I know, but I think that has something to do with it. Because if you think of like a freshly picked strawberry, if you go outside and you pick a strawberry like off a plant or something like that, it doesn't have that same taste.
I've never done that because that sounds reckless and dangerous. But I'm thinking about it something to do with the fact they're grown in Scotland. Because a lot of the native berries of Scotland can be quite bitter.
I've eaten wild strawberries before, you know, like the little ones, and they're not bitter. Don't find gooseberries to be bitter.
There's an orange thing that grows in the wild. And they turn it into a tart.
I know what you're talking about. Yes,
And
it grows
really
near grows near the ocean, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's really sharp.
I can't remember what it's called though.
It's entirely unique to Scotland, but we don't market it because, you know...
I think they could also make it into
controlled
gin
by
or
a foreign
something. You can make it into an alcoholic drink. Or make a syrup that you can... I don't know, something about that.
Yes, you can. You can do both. And turn it into a pie.
Yeah.
And then you go... Oh!
I need to find out what this is called now. Sea buckthorn.
Yes, that's exactly... It was just on the tip of my tongue.
I think that's what it's called, yeah. They talk about it, but they don't have a picture of it. Yeah, it's sea buckthorn. That stuff.
Yeah, it's orange.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I've got to add. It's orange. So, yeah, it's... Wait a minute, hold on. What were we talking about that we've suddenly turned to that?
We were talking about bitter things.
Why?
I was talking about I quite like bitter stuff.
But why? How did that come up?
It was raspberries, strawberries, grapes. We're talking about camouflage.
Oh, can you say camouflage?
Yeah,
And then you said
the
pomme de terre.
Pomme de terre, yeah.
And then it went from there.
Yeah.
Right, so we think that spiders are called spiders even in France. They're not translated to Aragonese.
This episode's just gone all over the place, hasn't it?
It has.
We need to be more structured next week.
No, I don't think so. I think this was more fun. I think this was better. Anyway.
Pomme de terre.
Your pommes can't deter me. I will achieve my goal. So, I think we'll finish it up now. I think that's enough.
Yes. I think your ears have probably bled enough by now.
There's enough excitement for one day. You should go and lie down.
Like to have a pomme de terre.
Yes.
A nice baked pomme de terre.
No, just have a pomme de terre. Just take it out of the fridge raw. Just
You shouldn't put potatoes in the fridge. It makes them sweet. You should never put a potato in the fridge.
Yeah, put them in the fridge.
No, you shouldn't. You should never put a potato in the
You
fridge.
should put them in the fridge.
No, you shouldn't.
You should put them in the
I
fridge.
once made a curry with potatoes that had been kept in the fridge and it tasted sweet even in a curry. You should never put potatoes in the
Yes, you
fridge.
should. Because they've already been stored when they were transported.
I never put potatoes in the fridge.
Freshly dug up potatoes from your own back garden, you don't. But anything that's been stored, moved around, you keep it in the fridge. It just keeps it preserved. It lasts longer.
Those potatoes you gave me were delicious.
No problem.
You grew them.
Yes. Anyway, so you're welcome. So we will...
Wish you a happy pomme de terre.
we wish you a happy pomme de terre. Actually, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a pomme de terre.
I'm going to write that on your Christmas card this year. Hopefully I can remember that. I'll put a little note on my phone going, Abigail at Christmas time.
Merry Christmas, Abigail. Here's a potato.
And here's a potato for you.
Yes, my potato was
I sold a
kept.
potato to get a potato for you.
My potato. I kept this potato in the fridge. Right.
We should probably go now.
Yeah, we'll go now. Run out the window. So we hope you enjoy listening to our
Rants.
insane ramblings. If you did, please like and subscribe below. If you subscribe, you can click the notification bell to be alerted whenever we upload anything. I believe the SAS are involved in that service. They just appear and tell you that something's been smashing through all the windows, give you a note written in code.
If you'd like to leave a comment, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, comments are welcome. Any comment, we'll just not listen to it if it's like silly. No, silly's fine. But, you know, any comment's fine. Start a conversation.
If you'd like to follow us on Facebook at OverShadow.ShadowCast, then you can email us at overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com. That'd be fantastic. If you feel like you need to give us a personal direct message, you can email us.
Yes. Or, of course...
Tommy's the only one with access to the email address.
If anybody was to decide they wanted to give us stuff...
For insane ramblings.
Spiders, if you're listening... No, you're not listening, because you're all French and this is in Scottish, so you probably
They can
don't
understand us. If they speak English, they can understand us.
No, they have to speak Scottish to understand this.
Because if they listen to me, they could. If you speak English, you can
So
understand
you can
me.
understand half. Two people speaking different languages at each other. Right. Yeah, so spiders, if you are listening and you haven't been sick with the constant linguistic yo-yoing that's apparently happening between the two of us.
Yes.
Where I'm speaking one language and you're speaking something worse. Yeah, we'll have some copies of Greedfall. Email us.
I've got to say goodbye now before Tommy keeps going on. Say bye-bye now.
No.
I'll say bye-bye. Tommy says bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.